The self-proclaimed Republic of Transnistria is perhaps the most mysterious and forbidding corner of Europe. It is recognised by no one. Little wonder then that when it celebrated 10 years of independence last year, no international guests attended the party. That was of little concern to Transnistria's president, Igor Smirnov. His army is huge, and he uses a massive internal security service to control Transnistria's 700,000 residents. But of greater concern to the West are allegations that the regime here is producing and trafficking weapons, among them so-called dirty bombs.
Here we have weapons which, if they were to end up in the hands of terrorists, could do tremendous harm, scattering large areas of a city centre with radioactive waste. Now, the very fact that these weapons are in the hands of a regime that, to be blunt, we cannot trust. We cannot trust and we cannot predict what they're going to do, automatically creates trouble for the outside world.
Dr. Mark Galliotti is an expert on Russian organised crime and writes for Jane's Defence Weekly. He also advises British intelligence on the growing criminal threat to Europe from the east.
You actually have Transnistria as this festering criminal sore which is infecting all its neighbouring countries. We know that Russian and Ukrainian criminals have safe havens there. We also know that Transnistrian gangs have moved into neighbouring Moldova and through Moldova into Romania, which in turn is a backdoor into the European Union.
Transnistria used to be part of the eastern half of Moldova. After World War II, Moldova was swallowed by the Soviet Union, and when that collapsed in 1991, it was quick to declare independence. But from the start, the country was split into two, with Russians in the eastern half deciding they wanted no part of an independent Moldova. The self-styled Republic of Transnistria was born. When Transnistria broke away, military forces from both sides poured into the conflict zone. Dug into their positions, what followed was a Sarajevo-style sniper war, which cost almost 2,000 lives before hostilities ceased in mid-92. Now in the West, Moldova is trying hard to show off its newly gained sophistication and demonstrate its readiness to join the European community. But just 1 hour's drive east, life remains as it was during the Cold War days of the Soviet Empire, with the Russians still in charge.
Евро-Супер 98. Приобретайте лучшее.
I've decided to travel to Transnistria to investigate the claims of arms trafficking and organised crime. At the border zone, there's a series of Moldovan checkpoints before you reach Transnistria. There's a European travel ban on Transnistria's leaders, so European passport holders are usually turned back. But an Australian was considered innocuous enough. Soon I was in Transnistria's capital, Tiraspol. Travelling here really is like stepping through a time warp into the glory days of the Soviet Union. Communist icons like Lenin and the hammer and sickle are everywhere to be seen, and huge banners encourage its citizens to be proud of their republic's achievements. But Western police believe that Transnistria is a lawless place where even the authorities participate in organised crime.
In Transnistria they can operate without problems with the authorities, because the leadership there is is involved in their business.
The leadership is corrupt.
Corrupt is the minimum, is involved.
Paolo Sartori is an Italian Interpol liaison officer based in Romania's capital, Bucharest. He has spent years studying crime networks in the Balkans and says Transnistria deserves its shady reputation.
We are worried, even the other Western countries are worried. You know that organized crime is widespread all over the world, not only in Transnistria, but where you can work with the local authorities and you can have international relationship in the fight against organized crime and terrorism. At least you know which is the problem, how huge is it, and what you can do. But if there is a black hole where you cannot do anything, and where the criminal organization and even the leadership of the country is a problem more big.
The West is impotent because Transnistria has the might of Russia on its side. Not far from Transnistria's capital, Russian troops still guard their Soviet-era stockpiles of weapons and ammunition, kept here as a deterrent to NATO. Transnistria maintains a cosy relationship with Russia and its 14th Army, which helps explain why the regime has managed to survive so long.